Happy Thursday morning. Welcome into Morning JOX here on JOX 94.5. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you for the next hour, getting you set for one of my favorite days on the sports calendar. In all seriousness, NFL draft kicks off tonight, 7 o'clock. You're going to have your first round tonight. A reminder quickly, if you want to, we will be having an NFL draft party at Trim Tab in downtown Birmingham tonight. So I know myself and Damian will be there alongside Pat Smith and Molly Robinson from Three Man Front. They are the stars of the show. We are just happy to be there alongside them. But yeah, if you want to come out and need somewhere to watch the draft tonight, certainly make sure you do that. But we are going to dedicate the majority of today's show to the NFL draft coming up tonight. And again, this is just, I've always loved the draft. There's something about just everything that goes into it, from, obviously the excitement of, finding out where people are going to go and people that you watched, for the last handful of years in college, and seeing what their next step is going to be. Of course, if you have a player or multiple players from your favorite school, you feel like you have a little bit of an extra, some more skin in the game there, I guess, and more of a connection, but also just the drama of, the trades and what goes into it from a strategic standpoint, I guess, from a lot of these front offices and how they try to maneuver through some of these deals. And based on some of the rumblings that, again, at this time of year, you take all of this buzz with a grain of salt, right? Because you don't know what's going to be a smokescreen from one team that's trying to, put people off the scent of the guy that they're really going after in the draft. But, based on a lot of the buzz, it seems like we might be set up to have some trades pretty early on in the draft tonight. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. But it is certainly going to be a very exciting night if you are an NFL fan. And I know Damian Mitchell wearing his Houston Oilers jersey.
Fair enough.
How excited are you for tonight? You already know it's Cam Ward. We already know who's going number one. That's not going to be a surprise. So how excited are you for this new era of Tennessee Titans football?
It gives me a sense of optimism, man, because the past couple seasons, we've taken a few steps back offensively, losing Derrick Henry, losing A.J. Brown, inserting Will Levis as our starting quarterback. And, he was already a project player anyway coming out of Kentucky. I wasn't the biggest fan, but when he was in the two-tone blue, I had to move my pride to the side and suffered through his inconsistencies as a quarterback. And we found ourselves in this position with the number one overall pick. And the fact that we're getting Cam Ward, and listen, a guy that has taken a long road to get to where he is, no star coming out of high school, goes to Incarnate Word, puts up numbers, transfers to Washington State, puts up numbers, goes to Miami and continues to put up numbers. At some point, you got to realize, like, okay, yeah, that guy is a real talent. And it just, it excites me. Again, when I look at just the future of where the Titans could be under his tutelage as the quarterback, there's some things that really do excite me, because I do think if we put some pieces around him, some veteran guys that know how to make plays, the division in the AFC South is Houston's for the taking. And it's not like Houston just, steamrolls everybody. I mean, we got to win over them last year in Houston. Now the Jaguars, everybody tells you they're the hottest new team just about every single year, and yet they still fall for expectations, fall in expectations. And then the Indianapolis Colts, they're just there. They got Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. So you just take that with all the information that you see. But I look at just where we are as an organization. Defensively, we're not a liability. If you watch us closely for the past couple years, it's really just been our offense has been non-existent. Outside of Derrick Henry for the past, for 9 years, it was, okay, we give the ball to 22 and let the chips fall where they may. So I find myself being a little more optimistic than usual, because, again, yes, he's a rookie. There's going to be some growing pains. But when I look at the upside that Cam Ward has, all he's done is put up numbers every single place that he's been. And I think the talent that he is in the NFL, again, with the new age era, with, RPOs, and now the game is starting to get more spread out, it fits right into his wheelhouse. So I think that what we're getting to Cam is a guy that potentially could be our franchise guy and take us to that next level, because now it's just going to look completely different. but I do feel confident that Cam Ward can take us to places that we haven't been in a while.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, I'm not a Titans fan like you are, but my dad is, and he when I was growing up, he lived in Nashville for the majority of my life, and so I watched a lot of Titans games, and so I remember a lot of, the good times and the bad times from like the middle 2000s and getting into the 2010s, and correct me if I'm wrong, but with what you have in Cam Ward, I would say this is maybe the most optimistic you could have been as a Titans fan. Honestly, maybe since you drafted Vince Young, just in the sense of the potential of what they could become. Because I think even, outside of that, I guess, the first couple of Ryan Tannehill years were maybe the best quarterback play that you've had in recent memory. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel like you kind of knew you were happy about it, but you knew it wasn't going to be very long lived. And so now I think you finally start to feel like, hey, this can be, the next 10 to 15 years of Tennessee Titans football. Tonight can be the start of a new era of being competitive, and you play in a winnable division,
exactly.
Right? So you got to feel like if Cam Ward does come in and he is a hit, that, the Titans could turn this thing around pretty quickly. I'm not saying I'm going to predict that they're going to make the playoffs this year or anything like that, but I think you could reasonably expect them to be better than they were last year.
Yes.
Already. In Cam Ward's first season. So a lot to get to the NFL draft. So we'll circle back to that in a minute, but we do have to quickly wanted to tell you about some things that happened last night. If you missed it around the world of sport, we have some portal news to get to here in a second. But first off, we'll start with something that was going on actually during our show 3-Man Front yesterday, and that was the Braves and the Cardinals as they had an early game yesterday. They're the final game of a 6-game homestand for the Atlanta Braves. And they pull off the 4-1 victory over the St. Louis Cardinals. So the Braves go 5-1 on their homestand against the Twins and the Cardinals to get right back on track. They are now 8-3 at home on the season, a very, very good home record, but 10-14 overall, because as we know, they played a lot of games on the road and it was a difficult stretch for them. So they will now, they are taking today off, and then they will start a road trip against the Arizona Diamondbacks tomorrow. And that's going to be a late game. That game's going to have first pitch around 8:45 for you tomorrow. But yeah, a nice way to close out the series. Back-to-back series wins for the Braves. Again, 5-1 on the homestand. Bryce Elder went 6 innings, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts for you. The bullpen came in and did their job. And then you had Eli White, who had that big 3-run home run late in the game to break the 1-1 tie and put the Bravos up for good in the bottom of the 8th inning. So big win there for the Atlanta Braves as it stands right now. If you're curious, they are still in last place in the National League East.
For now.
They are 1 game back of the Washington Nationals. And so as it stands right now, you're 10-14 on the season, 8-3 at home, 2-11 on the road. And now you have to go play a very good Diamondbacks team. So this is where, you look for the payoff, right? All right, you gotten that confidence back. Now you're going and playing what should be a playoff team on the road. Can you continue the success? Is that all you needed, right? Was to get your confidence back and remember, hey, we're a pretty good baseball team. And now you can go on the road and handle your business. So again, Braves off today, back in action tomorrow night against the Diamondbacks, but really, really impressive for them to finish their homestand at 5-1. All right, how about the transfer portal? We do have a little bit of news for both Alabama and Auburn, actually. So we'll start off with Auburn. A little bit more going on there for the Tigers as they got a commitment yesterday from Tulane cornerback Rashawn Pleasant. That was a name that we had heard, I think even going back to the weekend, of somebody that was supposed to be visiting down there on the plains, and apparently things went well, so they landed a commitment there. And if you've been paying attention, that's really where Auburn's lost a couple of guys. Has been in the secondary, and we know that that's one of their greatest positions of strength in terms of, the talent that they have, but also their depth. And so you have some guys going out that didn't see like they were going to fit a role, and now you're bringing some guys in that you think can give you a little more depth, and guys that maybe you're expecting to be able to contribute for you this year. So Auburn gets a cornerback, Rashawn Pleasant, out of the portal from Tulane, and they are still planning to host, as far as everything I can tell, Miami defensive back Emmanuel Carnley for a visit this week as well. So could be more additions on the way there for the Auburn Tigers. And how about Alabama? Finally got someone out of the portal. Didn't know if it was ever going to happen. Finally happened yesterday. Mountain Mama, take me home. West Virginia tight end Jack Samarco is I think that's it.
Yeah.
He is the first portal acquisition for Alabama here in the spring portal. Now, I'm about to share his stats from last year, and I know everyone's going to get really, really worried. So we're gonna get this out of the way. He was a freshman last year. He had one catch for 4 yards.
Okay.
But the belief from the people that cover the program is that this is maybe more of a long-term acquisition, right? This is a guy that you're going to have for 2, 3, potentially 4 more years on campus, and a guy that you think can develop and maybe be a long-term solution at that position more so than a quick-term, Band-Aid for this upcoming season. So, but Alabama, they do go out into the portal. They get freshman tight end Jack Samarco there from West Virginia. And there is also, similar to how Auburn has a commitment from one cornerback, and now they're bringing in another one potentially. Same thing for Alabama there at the tight end position is Troy tight end Brody Dalton, who we had told you about earlier here this week. He was visiting Alabama yesterday, and they are still, from what I'm being told, they're still looking to make another addition in that tight end room. So you could see Brody Dalton, the Troy tight end, joining Samarco there in that room for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But that's really the big news there. But that's really the first news that we've had, especially for Alabama. But not a whole lot going on with Auburn either. So that is your transfer portal update for Alabama and Auburn here this morning. And I don't want to spend more time talking about this drama, but I will just share the headline with you. If you missed it, we talked earlier this week about the Nico situation, but then Madden and his brother, Madden Iamaleava, who then left Arkansas and went to UCLA. Well, Arkansas is pretty upset about that, and so they have decided, hey, we're going to go after you. Like if you're going to come in here and take our money and then immediately tuck tail and go back to UCLA, then we're going to want you to pay some of that money back that we gave you up front. And so we found out yesterday that Arkansas is looking to recoup $200,000 from Nico's little brother, Madden Iamaleava. And so this is going to be this could be a big moment in the NIL era if Arkansas gets their way, and this is maybe the beginning of a buyout type system, similar to what you have with coaches for a lot of these players, which I personally, I would say I'm a fan of that. I don't like that you can go somewhere and essentially collect a signing bonus and then immediately leave, go somewhere else and get a signing bonus and NIL from them, and there's no consequences there, right? You get to have your cake and eat it too, and I certainly think that's something that we can all agree needs to go away. So that is the Iamale family drama update of the day. It continues and continues. I really thought we were done with it after Monday, but things keep coming out. So that is the big story there in college football right now. But the NFL draft coming up tonight, 7 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. I think we all know probably not going to get underway until, 7:15, 7:20 when you have that first pick.
We'll make it quick. We'll jump right on it.
It's going to take a while.
It is.
It always
It
does.
always does.
It always does. But it's the first round of the draft. So it's, again, one of the best days of the sports year. And there is so much to get to. The latest buzz, who's going where, how many quarterbacks are going in the first round, what's going on with Jalen Milroe, how many Alabama players could we see in the first round. All of that, we'll break it down for you. Take a look at some mock drafts. Take a look at what some of the insiders are saying to get you prepared so you know what to expect tonight when you tune into the NFL draft. Right now, you're tuning in to Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. When we come back, NFL Draft Deep Dive coming your way. 6:18. Welcome back in. Morning Jocks here on Jocks 94.5. Conrad and Damian with you, getting you set for the NFL draft coming up later tonight. Appreciate you making us part of your morning here on Jocks 94.5. And just quick little reminder, it is, again, looking like it'll be maybe a little bit of a weather day, so expect some more rain coming your way here across parts of the Birmingham area, but it is it's going to be warm at least, so that's always nice. Quickly before we get to the NFL draft, last night in the NBA, you did have the Celtics. They knocked off the Magic 109-100, so Boston up 2-0 in that series. The Cavs knock off the Heat 121-112, so Cleveland up 2-0 in that one. And the Houston Rockets take down the Golden State Warriors 109-94, so that series is tied at 1 game apiece. So that is your very, very quick NBA playoff update. But now getting to the main course tonight, NFL Draft, 7 o'clock there on ESPN. So you're going to have the first round tonight. Tomorrow you're going to get rounds 2 and 3. And then coming up on Saturday, you are going to get rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it's going to be a full weekend full of NFL draft. And let's go ahead. Let's look at some mock drafts that we have coming out here, just so we can kind of set the stage for what you can expect tonight. So let's go. Let's look at Daniel Jeremiah. He's one of the very best in the business. He put out his final mock draft there from on NFL.com. This came out yesterday evening, so pretty up to date here. So he has Cam Ward going number 1 to the Titans, as we already talked about with Damian. He has Travis Hunter going 2, Abdul Carter number 3 to the Giants, Will Campbell 4 to the Patriots, Ashton Genty 5, Kelvin Banks 6 to the Raiders. You have Armand Mimbu, the Missouri offensive lineman, going to the Jets at 7. Mason Graham there from Michigan going to the Panthers at 8. Michael Williams from Georgia at 9 to the Saints. You have Tyler Warren, the Penn State tight end, going to the Bears at number 10. You have Gray Zabel, the offensive tackle from North Dakota State there, going to the 49ers. At 12, he has Tate McMillan, the wide receiver, going to the Cowboys. Could be a little interesting there.
Okay.
Him and CD. You have at number 13, he has the Denver Broncos selecting Colston Loveland, the tight end there from Michigan. He actually has the Broncos trading up with the Dolphins to make that selection there. We have Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. He's going 14th overall to the Colts. Jalen Walker, 15 to the Falcons. Emeka Ibuka, 16th overall to the Cardinals, reunited with Marvin Harrison Jr. there. Let's see, we have, and I can't pronounce this dude's last name, but to the Bengals at 17, it's Donovan Ezrakow, the edge rusher. I can't pronounce his name. We'll figure it out tonight. But how about this at number 18? Trading up to 18, he has the New York Giants selecting Jackson Dart, Ole Miss quarterback, trading up with the Seahawks. So that would mean that, according to Daniel Jeremiah, Jackson Dart is going to be the second quarterback off the board. And there's something here that I'm about to get to that is, I think, the big headline going into the draft tonight. But at number 19, you have Matthew Golden, the Texas wide receiver, going to the Bucks. At 20, Malachi Starks from Georgia going to the Dolphins. And then at 21, the Steelers, they're taking a quarterback. It's not Jalen Milroe, it's Shadur Sanders. And that is, we will talk about that in a minute, because that is a name that has been all over the place for the last 24 to 48 hours there. But moving on at number 22, Trevion Henderson, Ohio State running back, going to the Chargers. At 23, Maxwell Hairston, the defensive back, going to the Packers. You have Derek Harmon, D lineman from Oregon, going to the Vikings at 24. Tyler Booker from Alabama, the first Alabama player off the board, at 25, going to the Texans. You have Amarian Hampton, the running back from North Carolina, going to the Rams at 26. Defensive tackle Kenneth Grant to the Ravens at 27. Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman, to the Lions at 28. Jahdae Barron from Texas, the defensive back, going to the Commanders at 29. Trey Amos, the former Alabama cornerback, but transferred and played for Ole Miss this year. First round pick there for the Buffalo Bills at number 30. You have Josh Connerly, the offensive lineman there, going to the Chiefs at 31. And then Jahad Campbell, the Alabama linebacker, going to the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles there at number 32. So that just kind of setting the scene for you what some of the experts are expecting for tonight. But the biggest buzz, and I'm very curious to get your thoughts on this as well, Damien, has been Shedeur over the last couple of days. And this was a guy that for a while, as early as a week or two ago, it seemed like the Giants were very interested in him at the number 3 overall selection. And in the middle of the day yesterday, you had, if you're into the gambling stuff, you had his draft spot was put at 8.5, right? So you could go either over, under 8.5 overall for Shedeur Sanders. That number jumped from 8.5 to 20.5 in about 6 hours yesterday. So there is a large belief among NFL insiders that not only is Shedeur Sanders not going to be picked in the top 10, he may fall to the Steelers at 21, but there's a lot of people out there that are now saying they're reporting that Shedeur Sanders may not be a first-round pick.
And that's where I get kind of confused. You're reading some of those, anonymous NFL execs.
And they
coaches.
are all anonymous.
Exactly.
Kind of weird.
That's what gets me. It's, okay, if you're going to absolutely just wreck this dude before he even takes a snap, because of things that have nothing to do with football. Like you talk about, listen, man, if he had an offensive line, just look at the numbers that he has put up in college football with him running for his life. How about a GM is like, well, I want to see what he looks like behind my offensive line because we can keep him upright. One thing you cannot deny is the talent on the football field. What product does he put on tape every single Saturday? And again, Colorado, they were in the absolute basement of success when it came to football. And, no matter where you stand on Coach Prime, however he does it, one thing he's going to do is he's going to look out for his kids. And Shedeur, he backed it up on the football field. Again, if he wasn't running for his life, there's no telling how good he could have been. But I would look at it as, how can somebody in a span of like 2 or 3 days go from, the Giants are probably going to get him at 3 to now he's not even looked at as a first round pick? Like, come on now. Like, what comes with it. Yeah, it may be a lot of baggage, but if it clicks, he can change your franchise. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Now, the confidence that and something I really started having an issue with was, okay, we saw Baker Mayfield and some of the crazy things that he did when he was in college. He still went number 1 overall. But they're looking at Shedeur Sanders and they're talking about, the bravado, the confidence, he's arrogant and things like that. Well, literally, we saw Baker Mayfield against a Kansas team that was 3-7, 3-8 going into the game. Man, the big homie was grabbing his Blue Chew package. Like, he was down there like, hey, you know what I'm finna do to y'all? Like, that, and nobody was just, everybody's like, oh man, he's got a moxie about him. Now, you can dissect arm talent. You can say he may not be the purest passer that Baker was, which is fine. But to me, and Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, he had the Pittsburgh Steelers taking him. You pair him with George Pickens and DK Metcalf.
Oh, that's filthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And already in an AFC North division where you got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, you're going to need somebody up there to at least put you in contention because your defense is going to be okay. But I think that a lot of the disrespect a lot of the things that people talk about Shedeur with have nothing to do with what he's doing on the football field, because no matter how you slice it up, the man put up numbers running for his life week in and week out.
Yeah, and I think, that's a lot of people's, I guess their greatest argument in favor of Shedeur is you look at what he did with a lackluster offensive line and you go, okay, well, that's a guy that could probably go in and have success early on in his career because, if you are going in the top 10, you're not going to a very good team, right, typically. And so the belief is, okay, well, you're probably going somewhere that doesn't have a great offensive line, so maybe you would want to pick the quarterback that has experience dealing with that and has a track record of putting up big numbers, despite the fact that he hasn't had great offensive line protection. But so let's keep going here. Where do other people have Shedeur Sanders mocked? All right, so is Daniel Jeremiah the only one? Are we crazy? What's going on here? All right, Peter Schrager, now with ESPN, formerly with Good Morning Football. He is now over there at ESPN. He put out his mock draft a couple days ago. He has Shedeur Sanders going 21st overall to the Steelers. He also has Jackson Dart going 26th overall to the Giants in a trade there. So a little bit of a flip-flop there from what Daniel Jeremiah had, but they both have Shedeur Sanders going 21st overall to the Steelers. All right, how about Field Yates? He put out the latest NFL draft. This is the latest one I can find. It came out this morning within the last couple of hours. Field Yates from ESPN. He has Shedeur Sanders 21st overall to the Pittsburgh Steelers. How about Todd McShay? He doesn't have Shedeur Sanders going to the Steelers. He has Shedeur Sanders going to the Cleveland Browns.
Oh.
In round 2.
Oh. That's a plot twist.
He has Shedeur Sanders as the first pick of the second round to the Cleveland Browns, number 33 overall. And he has, let's see, where did he have Jackson Dart? He has Jackson Dart at 28 because he has the Giants trading up to number 28. Back up to 28 to get Jackson Dart there. So he has Shedeur Sanders as a second round pick. So there you go. We just gave you 4 of the biggest names. And Mel Kiper, he hasn't put one out in a couple. He doesn't have one that's come out in the last 2 or 3 days to where all this buzz has happened. So that's 4 of the most notable and best NFL draft insiders, mock drafters, whatever you want to call them, and none of them have Shedeur Sanders going before the 21st pick in the draft.
Shedeur Sanders is, if it falls like Todd McShay has done it, you know who else was the 33rd pick overall?
Will Levis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After, all the grades said, oh, he's a first round guy.
Yep.
Something just tells me that Shedeur is not he's not getting out of the first round. Like
I would be shocked.
Yeah. Because I think that it's hard. Again, everything that comes with it. And that's what kind of blows my mind of people that watched Prime when he was playing loved him. Like everything. It's literally copy and paste with Shedeur. It's just at the quarterback position. The same moxie, the same confidence, the same bravado, and the numbers speak for themselves. Now, again, when he gets to the league, it's a different ball game because you're in professional football. Now, again, you could be the GM that takes all of this, and you could either look like an absolute idiot within the first 3 to 5 years, or you can look like a genius because he does click. And I think that's the risk that you run with pretty much everybody that you draft. But I just find it difficult how you can watch Colorado and watch Shedeur and not say, okay, if he clicks, he could be a potential franchise changer. Like it's evident. He's got all the tools. He can make all the throws. And again, a lot of the stuff is just, it's the things surrounding him. It's not what does he do when he's in between the white lines. That's all that matters. That's absolutely all that matters.
No, you're absolutely right. So that's going to be the big, probably the big national story going into the draft tonight is how long are you going to wait before Shedeur Sanders is selected? But here in Birmingham, we have a quarterback that we're very intrigued to see where he goes because he is going to be at the NFL draft, and that's Jalen Milroe. So we know he's accepted an invite. He's there. I saw a picture with him, Book, and Jihad yesterday in Green Bay. But is he going to be selected tonight? That's one of the more interesting questions, I would say, that is on the table. Some people have him as the 3rd best quarterback in the draft. Some people have him, as the 6th or 7th best quarterback in this draft. So it all kind of depends on where you look. But there was a very interesting, some very interesting comments yesterday that were revealed by a AFC coordinator and some of his thoughts and comparisons on Jalen Milroe. And I think some of them are spot on, but it also gives us a little insight maybe into what was going on in the offseason this year for Alabama when some of these portal decisions were being made, NFL draft decisions were being made. So we'll tell you the latest. What's going on with Jalen Milroe? Where can we expect him to be selected in the draft? Is it going to be tonight? Is it going to be tomorrow? And get a little behind the scenes look at some things that may have been going on at the University of Alabama as well. So we want you to chime in as well. Your thoughts on the NFL draft. Who are you excited for? Who do you want your team to draft? What are your biggest question marks going into tonight? 205-834-9450. And we return. We'll give you the latest on Jalen Milroe heading into the NFL draft. You're listening to Morning JOX. Oh, should have seen this one coming. 6:37 here. Welcome back in. Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Conrad and Damien here with you, getting you set for the NFL draft tonight. Man, if he's not a first-round pick, he might just want to become a full-time rapper.
All I'm saying is, you want to sell some tickets, you draft Shador, and then, when your team's your team's warming up, they play perfect timing. Like, you can help that man change his life. Give him some extra dollars on the side. Supplemental income.
All right, before we get into this Jalen Milroe thing, did you see a former, I'm not going to say NFL star, but he played in the SEC and then he went to the NFL, won a Super Bowl that's a rapper now?
You talking about the one that played at Florida? The receiver? The one that, muffs a lot of punts? Yeah, they call him Lil Joker now, don't they? It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Best of luck in the next part of your life, Kadarius Toney. That was
trash.
Something. Yep, there you go. All right, so getting back to the NFL draft, and what's the latest buzz on Jalen Milroe? So I teased this going into the break. So Tom Pelissero from the NFL.com. He put out an article, and it was essentially a collection of quotes and thoughts that he had gotten from NFL coaches leading up to the draft. What they thought about a lot of the prospects, and a lot of it is focused on the quarterbacks. And so I'm going to read you some of what Tom Pelissero published about NFL coaches. These are current NFL coaches and their assessments of Jalen Milroe heading into the NFL draft. All right. One AFC executive. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to censor this because there's a lot of expletives in this one. It says, quote, "This is the fastest guy on the field. He was outrunning angles. He's just so erratic. He's a smart enough kid, but not a fast processor. He's into all of these mental coaches, has to see it open, doesn't have anticipation. He doesn't have anticipation. He's the typical big arm, rifle armed expletive who throws everything really hard and fast and will throw a good pass, and then the next 5 passes, you don't know where the hell they're going to end up." That is what one executive had to say about Jalen Milroe. Here's one that I thought was a little more interesting. This is from an AFC, either offensive or defensive coordinator. Their assessment: he's a 22 miles per hour on the ground kind of guy. He's got a fastball that's not very accurate. He doesn't know when to take it off of the ball. We were told out of Alabama that all the skill players would have transferred if he came back this year. He wants to be known as a pocket quarterback, and your best skill is that you're freaking fast. So just some interesting comments that were made about Jalen Milroe. And granted, I think that we would all agree those are pretty accurate. And that is why you've had a lot of us kind of go, man, really, this is a guy that might be a first round pick. I just don't know if I see that. But no, his best quality is his legs. As we know, that is his greatest strength, and that is the ultimate separator. And we've seen that, guys can go in and have success early on because of what they can do with their legs while they develop the other parts of their game. It's hard for me to get behind that when you've seen a guy regress in college, right? It'd be one thing if it was like, okay, we're continuing to get better, like Jalen Hurts, right? Going into the NFL, you could have at least said, hey, he's gotten better at the things he needed to improve on, mainly passing, before he went to the NFL. I can't say the same thing about Jalen Milroe, but the really interesting thing to me is essentially that there was a coach that was told by somebody at Alabama that if Jalen Milroe comes back for another year, everyone else, they're out. They don't want to deal with this anymore.
That's where I kind of like, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Okay. Jalen Milroe he's the definition of a project guy. Mm-hmm. He may not be ready now, but you cannot deny that he has the physical gifts, the traits. And the thing is how soon we forget. Jalen Milroe, if you go back, it was Texas A&M 2023. Where even that whole week people were saying, he looks like he's a little dinged up. He may not run the ball as much. He had to stand in the pocket and you threw for 320 something yards against Texas A&M and was like absolutely diming them. Absolutely diming them. So when we go back to the month of November he had in 2023, it's like he was the best college football player breathing at that moment. And it's hard to understand what happened in 2024. Again, new coaches, new system, new everything. But there were highs that were absolutely phenomenal. And then you got the Oklahoma games of the world. And it's okay. Like, now I see what this GM is talking about. But the thing is, with Jalen Milroe, he may not be ready day one. Give him time. I don't put the pressure on him being a first round pick and saying he's got to be the franchise guy now.
Mm-hmm.
No, he is a guy that we will have some packages for him. He's going to have to put his pride to the side, like, hey, big dog, we just need you on 3rd and 1. This is our version of the tush push. It's a quarterback dive. I need you to put, we're paying you a lot of money now, not under the table, not NIL. This is your job. So this is what you need. This is what I need from you today. And then year 2, year 3, he continues to sit behind a veteran guy. And then when his time is ready, you put him in. I think that Jalen Milroe has the upside of a Lamar Jackson because of how athletic he is. And he's physically gifted that he can withstand some hits. Now, there are some inconsistencies in the pass game, but that's why these offensive coordinators, these quarterback coaches, that's why they're paid the big bucks in the professionals. Like, you can help fix this. And also, Jalen Milroe has to accept the coaching. And again, he's been coached by Nick Saban. If there's one thing I know he can accept, is criticism, because he's done nothing but be criticized his entire ride, whether good or bad. But I do think the product that he does put on the field, it's very similar to Shedeur. If it hits, you look like the smartest GM in the room. And it's just, what time does it all click? And it's just, we live in such a microwave society of, boom, if he's drafted in the 1st round, he has to go out there and play instantly. No, if he ain't ready, he just ain't ready.
No, and I'm with you. I mean, you look at, the Packers have done an excellent job of that, going back to Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett Favre and then Jordan Love sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. And we saw how that worked out for them. I mean, Patrick Mahomes got drafted. He was able to sit for a year behind Alex Smith. And so you've seen a lot of these guys. I mean, heck, even going back to Tom Brady and him, having to, he was never expected to be a starter really, but, him learning behind Drew Bledsoe and then being ready, finally when his number was called upon. But yeah, Jalen Milroe, he's just such an interesting prospect to me. I think, and I understand the Lamar comparisons. I honestly would compare him even almost more so to Josh Allen coming out of college, just because now he's faster than Josh Allen, but Josh Allen was a guy that had all the physical traits. He was tough. He was going to be able to run the football. He's not as fast as Milroe, but he's got a big arm. But he had really bad completion percentage in college. Granted, he was playing at Wyoming, so he didn't have elite talent around him. But he couldn't. He really struggled with consistency passing the football. And now look at him. He just won the MVP, right? He's arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. So that's where you see the upside for Milroe and why teams are going to take a chance on him. But I think we also know that, the Josh Allens of the world are the exceptions to the norm, right? You're not going to hit on those guys. You're going to miss on those guys more often than you're going to hit on them in the NFL draft. So going to be very interesting to see where he ultimately ends up and if he is selected tonight or if he ends up having to wait until tomorrow to be selected in the 2nd or 3rd round. I can't imagine him going any further than that. But we will have to wait and see. So 205-834-9450. Some of y'all chiming in your thoughts on the NFL draft tonight. Keep those coming in when we return here on the other side. We'll get to your text, your thoughts on what's going to happen tonight in the NFL draft. You're listening to Morning JOX.
6:49 here on Morning JOX. JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order here with you for a few more moments as we get you set for McElroy and Kublik in the morning on this NFL Draft Thursday. Y'all know what time it is, or what time it will be later. I'll tell you that. You know you might need a little help. Let me tell you about my friends at Blue Chew. It's an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin, all in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets are performance enhancing for the bedroom. It can help men gain extra confidence when it's time to perform. Turn that oh no into oh yes. It's an online prescription service, so you ain't got to worry about going to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, or waiting in line at the pharmacy. It ships right to your door in discreet packaging. Let Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription so you can also enjoy your draft day tonight as well. Let me tell you about our free offer, FREE. You go to bluechew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code JOX at checkout. The only thing you're paying for is the $5 shipping. You go to bluechew.com, promo code JOX to receive your first month free. And remember, your boy DM6 told you, just chew it and do it.
All right, getting to the courtesy GMC text line here on your Thursday morning. A lot of your thoughts coming in about the NFL draft tonight. So we have Dave from Winfield. He texted in, so he says, "Is Shadur a real life version of Bo Callahan from Draft Day?" That's good. That's good.
That's a good one.
That's good, Dave. Let's see. Michael, he chimes in. He says, "I hear all this Milroe upside, and all I hear is that throw Robbie Ashford made."
Hey,
that one throw that he made in the Iron Bowl. We were living off that one for a while.
That sun gun was like Tom Brady probably couldn't have made that throw that day. Like that was, to this day, I don't care what nobody says. If I ever have it may be a 6-second Robbie Ashford highlight tape.
It's gonna be that throw.
That one doggone throw, because it was on a rope. It was in the back of the end zone. Pow! It was good.
Thank you, Michael, for bringing that up. I honestly had forgotten about all that. But yeah, man, that one throw he made in the Iron Bowl, man, it was nice.
Beautiful.
It was nice. All right, Fanboy chimes in. He says, "I bet all these people that talk about Jalen Milroe wouldn't want Mike Tomlin or the Eagles to get him because they know how to coach a guy like Milroe."
Boom.
I mean, and Jalen Milroe, and I mean, this applies to anybody, though, right? I mean, where you get drafted is so crucial to how your career is going to develop. Like, you can't convince me. I'm not saying he wouldn't still be a great player. Patrick Mahomes isn't Patrick Mahomes if he's not there in Kansas City with Andy Reid learning under Alex Smith for a year. Like, you can't convince me that without like that whole situation was the secret sauce, right? And so where you get drafted is so important. So, I mean, I totally agree with what Fanboy's saying there. That's not a guarantee he'd be successful, but I think you have a better chance for sure. AC chimes in. He says, "Happy birthday, Eve, Damian." Your birthday's on Saturday, right?
It is indeed.
Very nice. Happy
Appreciate
early
it, AC.
birthday.
Thank you.
Let's see. We have, oh, man, this guy's all over. He texted in. Last time he texted in and said 5 weeks till your birthday, Damian.
Oh, he was on the
This guy's all over
he was on
it.
the countdown.
This guy's all over it.
Appreciate it, bro.
John Mack chimes in. He wasn't happy that you brought up the Texas A&M game, talking about Jalen Milroe.
Stop sucking.
John Mack says, "Laughable talking about Shadur's stats. He played against some of the worst defenses in college football, and his dad literally built the offense around making him look good." I will say, while I do think that what he did with a bad offensive line is impressive, I think it's also fair to say he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, and how is he going to look without a guy like Travis Hunter there to save him a lot of the time? And they didn't run the football, so they had to throw it all the time, and that helps inflate his stats. That's certainly a fair point there. Someone says Jalen Milroe is more like Lamar Jackson, and I understand why people are saying that. I guess I was saying from like your concerns with Lamar Jackson is a significantly better passer in college than Jalen Milroe or Josh Allen was. That's why I made the Josh Allen comparison, because there was more of that development that needed to happen there. Someone else says Shadur won't make it past the Cowboys. They'll take him if he's there at 12.
I don't know. They're paying Dak a lot of money to.
That is the kind of thing Jerry would love to do, though. Let's see.
Dak the tailback.
Yeah. Lewis chimes in. He says, "Am I an NFL scout? I've said the same thing the last 3 years as an Alabama fan about Milroe. Can't wait to see him sit there all Friday night." Man, some of these, like,
This man
let's
took out to the
move on.
playoffs,
Let's
man.
move on. I understand last year was frustrating. He straight up, he sucked sometimes last year. He did. It is what it is. But he's gone.
Yeah.
We have moved on. I wish him, I genuinely wish him nothing but the best. I don't want to see him sit there and be miserable. Like, I want him to be successful in the NFL. Am I also glad that I don't have to watch him in Alabama next year? Hell yeah. But you can still be excited for the guy. But hey, if you're not, that's, it is what it is. To each their own. Will chimes in. He says, I hope Jalen Milroe proves them all wrong, but if they're right, he needs to make a change and become the next Taysom Hill fast.
Yeah, hey, just get on the field. That's all that matters.
Someone says, could some of the talk about Shedeur just be a smokescreen for other teams that are actually interested in taking him in the top 10, like the Browns? Maybe so.
You take it.
And somebody says, Shedeur Sanders will not even equate to Jamarcus Russell. Wait and watch. Dad is going to do so much LeBron lobbying. So a lot of you not excited about Shedeur Sanders prospects in the NFL draft. But a lot more NFL draft talk coming your way with McElroy Kubelik in the morning, because those guys are up next.